Hello, dear friends. This is Fleury Levi, founder of Universal Grace Feminine Foundation. I hope you are well. In this series, Discerning Truth from Lies, Light from Illusions, I'd like to carry on as I am inspired spiritually to share some of my spiritual revelations. I would like to give you an image which is the difference between Barabbas and Christ and Jesus Christ in the Gospel. We've got on one hand Barabbas, who was a kind of, gangsters of the time then, and also an agitator. But at the root, there was a real quest for justice, because obviously many people were discontent with the Roman oppression, and many people wanted justice, real justice. So there is a mixture here, you see, between spiritual truth and the reaction to this spiritual truth is actually 3D, materialistic, and there is a mixture in the motivations, because some of the motivations are pure and spiritual, and others are totally from the ego and the way, to do it, like a bandit, like killing people and basically ending up being the same. Then the people one is rising against to suppress, ending up at the same level than them, battling them with the same type of weapon. So if we believe that these weapons they use are corrupt, soiled, and unfair, so if we use it as well, then we then become like them. I hope that's clear. Christ, on another hand, was coming from totally a spiritual motivation and a spiritual realm with justified anger at times, because he did express anger, against the Pharisees and the attitude, not against the group, but against the attitude of some groups, who were oppressing others. But the solution was left to cosmic justice, because Christ always said, the one who takes the sword will perish by the sword, and the example of Peter, who tried to defend Christ with the sword, and Christ preventing him, So this type of difference is explaining how we can discern the real truth from the lies on the spiritual realm. A mixture of spirituality and materialistic ego-based reactions, even to a true pure spiritual motivation, is obviously corrupting it, and it's obviously becoming then lowering it at the level of the one seen as the opponent, and we end up all in the mad, killing each other, calling each other names, etc. That's precisely what nowadays we can see in the alternative, you would say, media. I don't know how to call it, but the new information on the internet and the what is called the independent media, as I explained last time, infiltrated, of course, by some are genuine, certainly, but others are very clearly infiltrated by all the ones, who are the one doing all these horrible things and having these dark goals for humanity, because they want to control the opposition, as everybody knows by now, because that has been explained so many times by so many people. We all know that now. Or it is because they are many dark groups fighting against each other, which I think really that's what's happening today. That they are, I believe that that's what I receive spiritually, that nowadays there is a split between many of these factions, and they are infiltrating as they can, through different false activists, which I call agitators, um, to fight and combat each other, presenting each other, as the guilty one, whilst in fact they are all doing the same thing. Their motivation is exactly the same, which is to colonize humanity and enslave humanity. Spiritual, I would not say weapons, but spiritual means of resolving issues is not about killing each other and calling each other names, but it's about prayer, sending light, sending love, and growing ourselves spiritually as Christ or Buddha, all the wise men and women have shown us in this world. When they came to our world, they taught us spiritually. And not many like to take this narrow path because it's a way of self-denial, denying the lower self, the ego, comparing to the ones who are competitive and boasting that they are so successful because they want to do what they want, and their goal is their self-will, we say self-made, okay, self-ambition, self-rising above the others, etc. So that to those who have came with a mission, they're spiritual beings with a human experience like myself, or those who don't realize that yet but want to grow spiritually, the narrow path is obviously a different path, and that's what I was trying to explain, and I'm trying to explain many times. It's a path which is above duality, okay, which is neutral, which is not considering who is good, who is bad, and of course it's an enlightened path and animated by spiritual cosmic justice, which is helping us to discern, when an attitude is corrupt and damaging humanity. We need, as I said last time, to expose it to the light, to neutralize it. However, we are dealing with it from a spiritual realm, not with a materialistic motivation or agenda, but with a spiritual purpose to help, which is compassion, empathy, helping everyone involved to have a chance to grow, even the one seen as the most guilty ones, because there are some who are obviously, there are gradation in we become the result of our choices, of our daily choices, and there is a gradation, in the horror, in the horrible, and a gradation is in the beautiful as well, according to the level of choice we made, which is unique according to each individual, obviously. So the people who have been choosing so much their self-will and base themselves on falsity, are sometimes, acting like psychopaths, etc. And they're obviously trying always to rise and control others and hurt them and be served. I mean, there are many groups who came through humanity with falsity and with this totally psychopathic ambition to enslave, humanity because they think they are superior. So many, I mean, usually they are a bit the same, although they fight each other. They're a bit the same because they have the same logic, which is that some even pretend that God, would they see as God, has chosen them to be superior to the rest of humanity. They have a license to kill, according to them, go and kill other people, other nations, and they want to be served by them. Okay, and they are supremacists. They have to be in charge of everybody. That's the way they see their God. Okay, and that's very, very dangerous, as we all know, and we know how it ends, because what they don't understand, because that's so against, so at the opposite of the character and the essence of the loving creator, the universal, loving, unconditional, benevolent, loving kindness, the essence of the Holy Spirit, is so against, is so completely at the opposite, because it's there in the mud, in the, totally materialistic, hellish mind, not at all in the heavenly mind, that they don't realize that as soon as they start their plan, their plan to get rid of the opponents so that they can be on top of the world, there is a spiritual, very deep, safeguard that is starting to move, to start going the movement from cosmic justice, which is to balance our universe. And this movement starts, and they are precisely going to be the first victims of their terrible plot, because they are going to fall. I mean, actually, there are verses in the Bible saying that humility precedes glory, but arrogance always precedes fall. Okay, so we need to help these people, these groups who have such horrible motivation, because they are going to hurt a lot of people, and we don't want that for a start, of course, because the other people are innocent and they should not suffer because of their, foul desires and objectives. But they are themselves going to be the first victims, of their own terrible psychopathic minds and desires. So we need to obviously spiritually expose, as I said, the darkness to the light. However, to neutralize it, but we are not doing it in taking sides in the sense that we condemn and are trying to sort it out in a materialistic 3-day dimension. We need to leave it to cosmic justice and carry on, okay, our true work, our prophetic ministry, our visionary ministry, to warn people who want to grow spiritually, and to help. That's what is making a difference, because it's not done in a motivation, I hate you because you want to be on top of the world, simply because I want to take your place, because I envy you, I am jealous, I want the same than you, so that's why I'm going to try to eliminate you. No, it's from the perspective, I'm not at all, I'm from another realm, I'm not interested at all, I find it, I'm very, very concerned for you, not only for all humanity, but I'm concerned for you, the tyrant, who is trying to destroy humanity, you destroying yourself by doing so. And I would like to help you from a neutral, universal loving perspective, to give you a chance to realize, so that you can, we can't force people to change, obviously, but we can inspire them. We can inspire them by informing them. Sometimes people were born in a context where they have been brainwashed, where they didn't have the real freedom to choose. When you live continually under trauma and fear, you end up being like a machine, and somewhere we need to be neutral and wish well to everyone. Wishing well to everyone is to wish everyone to be enlightened through universal, unconditional, benevolent loving kindness, so that they can uh, have a heavenly perspective, so that they can be happy, truly happy, and well, and that all the rest of us can be as well. Obviously, I do believe as well that, as Christ warned, he warned the ones who were oppressing others, that it was not going to carry on this way for them, because he knew that they had started this movement of balance from cosmic justice, and that through what some people say the karma they were creating for themselves, it was going to boomerang on them, and they were going to end up in the dust. They were going to be cast out, and suffer, terribly suffer, because of what they done. So he was trying to warn them in love, by telling them. He didn't take a sword and try to sort it out, but he just could visualize spiritually what was going to happen to them, because of their choices. So I think we are here to do that as spiritual, visionaries and spiritual presence in our world. What a lot of these people seem to totally be blind to is that there are spiritual laws in a universe. And these spiritual laws are continually in motion. There is a continual spiritual movement. And going against this harmony, universal loving, unconditional loving, benevolent loving kindness, and all this spiritual movement is always going to boomerang on the initiator, because it's not possible to destroy life and grace. When I speak about reacting to oppressors, to evildoers, whatever, through a neutral, gracious perspective, is because this is the heart of life, the flower of life, the origin of life. It is coming from true, universal, unconditional love, and it is coming from a very deep, precious balance which cannot be corrupted, and will always have the upper hand because of its essence of being true and being the origin of everything. When we are taking this road, we say we take the high road, and we take the high road by precisely refusing to use the weapons, the materialistic weapons, hateful weapons that some of these people do. And we are flowing with the spiritual flow of this harmony, helping simply as much as we can to expose darkness into light, to neutralize it, as I said. This gracious third way have been suppressed. I mean, it's not possible to suppress it, but it has been hidden to the world for centuries, because the male, the patriarchal society has been based on this tyrannical insight by brute force to create empires, okay? And it is very much based, even all the religions and institutions, including the Christian, so-called Christian religion, on what is called, in the Roman Empire, and obviously that will be the equivalent in different culture, whatever they call it, of the pater familias law, okay, which is based on falsity because it's based on women haters, oppressors, who are trying to hide the existence of divine mother, okay. These people have been preaching a false Bible, a false gospel, where there is only a divine father, which is at the image, who is at the image of the pater familias law, who wants all the praise, who is, very arrogant and want to have always the last word and who want to be always in charge, who is to be flattered all the time and worshipped all the time. This is the opposite of the true essence, once again, of the real creator, universal and conditional love, benevolent loving kindness, who is at the same time divine Father and divine Mother, and is one through the Holy Spirit because of precisely the essence of who they are, and they are one because they are universal love. And this falsity basing, the teachings that are given, in these religions, have been continually brainwashing men, putting an unfair burden on their shoulders, and at the same time removing any chance from them to grow really spiritually in humility, because they were continually put at a place, like a God, the only one, the only voice, who has to be tyrannical in this world and has every right on everybody else, okay? And that's where everyone wants to boast, it's me, I'm better than you, I'm a self-made man, I'm in charge. And brute force is the usual weapon used by them. Whilst in fact, the gracious third way is based on the nurturing, loving side of Divine Mother, who is life and who is cultivating, serving, nurturing personality. We hear a lot about the return of the divine feminine, or the return of divine mother nowadays, but she never left, she was always, that's part of the nature, the essence of the creator of our universe, of our loving creator, who is male and female, father and mother, Holy Spirit. Spiritual, obviously, it's a way of talking for us to understand there is a feminine and masculine principle at work together, not one above the other or crushing the other, but together in harmony. And that's what is the origin of life, is this continual harmony of love and exchange, in freedom, with a free will. Not self-will, because self-will is completely different than free will, and I might explain that another time. It'll be too long now, but I'm sure some of you understand what I'm trying to say here. So the situation is that the problem has been that the the Creator, it's even written in the Bible, created us at His image, so masculine, feminine, but unfortunately, because of the self-will with imperialistic, tyrannical goals of the male, of some of the male ego, then it has been completely hidden and changed and presented as only male, and that's why we have been all suffering, and we are still suffering from these characteristics. We can identify them. Unfortunately, for many centuries, even the church, what we see as the Christian institution, has been hiding and upholding males who were beating up their wives, and having affairs, having as many women they wanted, treated women as really second, less than second rank citizens, and oppressing them, denying precisely the existence of divine matter. That's what this type of teaching has brought to our world, okay? And was very clear that Christ was not at all into that. He actually many times took a stand for women to be treated as equal and to be even revered like his mother, should be revered. He also has been telling Judas, stop giving grief to Mary, who was pouring her perfume on the feet of Christ, because she had understood something a lot deeper spiritually that some of the we all speak about Mary Magdalene, who were actually apostles and understood through the feminine intuition something a lot deeper than what some male disciples could understand. But Christ has been saying that. And it's not a coincidence that he has been telling Judas, the betrayer, stop giving her grief. And that's what Christ says to all these false male disciples who are oppressing women and telling them to shut up, and be their slaves. Stop giving them grief. They are here to help you to understand something you can't understand through your male nature. They are here to bring balance and harmony, and you have to work hand in hand, not crushing each other. It's not about women crushing men or men crushing women. It's about having respect, mutual respect, and live in harmony together. So it is not a coincidence that it was Judas who betrayed Christ, because that's what these men are saying, boasting they are the only apostles, are doing. They have been betraying. They have been betraying Christ by betraying Divine Mother. Some even say that Divine Mother, betraying Divine Mother or ignoring her or denying her presence is a blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. What is happening today to the church is actually not only, the official human institution. I'm not talking about the real spiritual church in the spiritual realm. Is actually not only a persecution. It's a huge part is a judgment of the real loving Creator. Because of that, because it's the boomerang, as I'm explaining, of cosmic justice, because of their karma, because of their bad actions, because of what they have been doing to Divine Mother, is boomeranging against them. So it's not a persecution. Obviously there are persecutions. Christ has been persecuted wrongly, and some true spiritual believers are persecuted wrongly. But a lot of what is happening today precisely is not a coincidence either, that it is just at the moment of what is called the return of Divine Mother. It's not a return. She's always been here. She's part of she's the essence of the Creator, male and female. But she's been so much deprived, put to shame, blamed, hurt, hidden, that, now there is this, as I said, we can't keep hiding the truth very long. Because even Christ said it, you can't, what is hidden will be in plain sight. What has been hidden will always be in plain sight, one day or the other. All these men who have been hitting their wife at home, because behind closed doors, and raping young girls and doing all these horrible things simply because they thought women were helpless and nobody was seeing them. It's all coming to the light. It will carry on coming to the light. Because that's the nature of things, okay? That's the light, that's the nature of the light. And the essence of loving kindness, universal love, benevolent kindness, unconditional love is precisely this, is the light and cosmic justice. So they try to continually, hide and manipulate and impose brute force and threaten people to try to keep the status quo. But it's not going to, because it's not about agitators. It's not about agitators or people who are going to make a revolution. That has nothing to do with that. It's about spiritual, Holy Spirit, what we can call in human terms, if you want for us to understand better, Creator, Father, Mother, who are taking action. Their nature by itself is taking action, and who are calling all the souls who want the truth, who have chosen the real truth and universal love to serve the real truth through their own free will, not self-will, but free will, then to this light. Because the more we grow, the more we allow through grace, I believe that it all comes from a free gift. It's not from works. Your works cannot change you. Your own self-effort, self-will cannot do anything spiritual for you. It's by receiving in humility the free gift of love, the free will, by your free will to accepting the free gift of life, which is gracious. It's a grace. It's not by works. And I am totally convinced by Divine Mother, this is the truth. But some are trying now to deny that because they still are up to denying Divine Mother, okay, and her existence. So this free grace, which is purely loving, universal, unconditional loving, the more we accept it, then it transforms us to the resurrection image of our higher self, which some of us, have lost because they followed their alter egos, lower selves, etc. And through that regeneration, reconnecting with our higher self, through the resurrection, then we are led to a new spiritual height, to the high road, and we can also, by being changed, be an inspiration to others to change, because our light shines for them, okay? Not because we are trying to force them, because we are, trying to make a revolution to kill, suppress such tyrannical group or whatever. I mean, I have explained some of these things in my book, These Men Who Love Too Little, but you see, I'm coming up against this stumbling block of men and women, because there are a lot of women I call the women collaborators, who are not at all interested in Divine Mother. They just want to follow their ego, and they just want to serve the tyrannical male ego. They know where their bread and butter is. And they are not helping. They don't want to help women or even men who are trying to you know, inspired through divine matter. They just want to keep on collaborating with the status quo. Um, we can see as well how, unless you are part of the bracket academic circle, cliquey circles, uh, whatever inspiration, true inspiration, spiritual, you've got, you are not part. They don't want to hear you, and they are trying to actually silence you in different ways, because they have trained, even in religions, uh, their own people, and it is not a light word, their own people, brainwash them their own way to carry on their falsity and to carry on teaching what is convenient, okay, to them, so that they are not at all sympathetic to anyone who precisely, like I did. I am also an academic, but I left, I went out of it because I wanted the real truth, and I wanted to be serving the real truth, not the lie, okay? So the situation is that in this world, even many publishers are cliquey, and they like to have new writers for submission. I just experienced that very, with this book lately, because of my health concerns, my difficult patch I'm going through. I wanted, I usually don't do that because I had experienced many, many years ago how corrupt the publishing world can be, to send my book, to some so-called publishers who were accepting manuscript, but in fact, they were only interested in reading it to try to nick the ideas convenient to them and dismiss the others, and propose that to some of their writers, their gang. It's very sad that there is a lot of mafia, and, as I said, mafias fighting each other and gangs fighting each other, who are blocking real people who have something true to say. And this happens everywhere now, including the internet. So I do believe that it's not important to me, because I'm not here to be in the mad circus, of the ambition. I had renounced that since young. I could have been at a very high position if I wanted to. I had the skills, the talents, and the hard work as well for that. But I chose the narrow path, and that has completely changed my life. And many around me, including my family, misunderstood me and blamed me for that. But I paid the price of being a spiritual, of choosing the high road, and I still carry on paying it. But it does not matter, because what matters is if this can inspire, some to follow this path as well. We are not here to create some political revolutions. We are not here to trying to even, our frustrated ambitions by accusing others, but we are here to take a neutral perspective and sincerely loving even those who have been hurting us, or those who made wrong choices against us. And that's where we grow, okay, in this love. And that's what personally I wish to grow, and that's what I do. I wish well to everyone, even to these publishers, even if they, copy and frustrate writers or script writers by nicking their ideas while they have billions and they use it to buy superficial things, having sex with underage girls, because some of them are pedophiles, or if they are, having luxury and billions while others are absolutely starving, while people like me are trying to help people who are starving because of my spiritual motivation. But in spite of that I really, of course, uh, suffer to see their bad choices, what I see as their choices which are evil for humanity, including themselves, but I wish them well spiritually. I am neutral because I hope for them. I also say these things for them, hoping they'll open their eyes and that they will, it's not too late to change. I did make a video how to recover from the Peter Pan dark syndrome, the dark Peter Pan syndrome, because I care as well for the oppressors and the tyrants, you know. Also, I want to say that I'm far from a male hater. I have lovely brothers, spiritual brothers, and a wonderful husband, okay? I just want to say that actually it's all the opposite, because one of my weakness had always been to be attracted to a certain type of man, or have men attracted to me, because they can feel, you know, that I love men, and that's why, because I respect and love men. That's why I say that, to help them. Women who are flattering men and obeyed them in what is wrong, you know, what is destructive to society and themselves as male first, are the one who hate men, because they are, you know, front pretending something by flattering them, and by the back they're stabbing them because they absolutely hate them and disrespect them. So I am not two-faced. I am saying the truth, hoping they will take the hint and that they will grow spiritually and understand what went wrong, you know, to help them be happy one day, you know, truly happy, because true happiness is not in oppressing others and using brute force. It's only going to make you very, very unhappy and dissatisfied continually. Whatever you get this way will always leave a very bitter taste in your mouth. So, in any case, I just wanted to say, friends, that I hope this helped, and I wish you all a very happy new 2020, new year. I just hope that we will connect deeply spiritually together and inspire others to grow spiritually towards universal, unconditional, benevolent loving kindness. Much love to all.